Welcome to Who Yelling Now, Season 4, Episode 6, titled Who Benefits from Forgetting? Is forgetting an act or is it an art? Do we forget by accident or do we practice it? We choose to forget until it is no longer a choice. Shall I forget you or myself? I have already chosen to selectively forget parts of myself that do not benefit me. The sharp edges, the shame, the moments I wish I handled differently. If I can't edit myself, then editing you is easier. If I can soften my memory, then softening your harm feels justified. Forgetting becomes mercy. Forgetting becomes maturity. Forgetting becomes survival. And sometimes forgetting becomes divine. Here is a poem I call To Forget is Divine. When I forget, it brings others peace. It allows the room to breathe. It allows the table to stay set, the stories to remain sweet. When I forget, my mother does not cry. She believes she has done well. She sleeps without revisiting the nights she could not tell. When I forget, my father stands tall, a soldier in his prime. His suspicions fade to discipline, his silence framed as time. When I forget, that uncle's laugh, his trembling hands, the places his fingers went, the things I didn't understand. When I forget, the tension leaves. Children can run outside and play. The air grows light. The wine pours right. No one has to choose a side. To forget is holy, they say. It cleanses, it redeems, it smooths the rough. It makes enough of fractured, broken things. But when I forget, who benefits? And when I remember, who bleeds? If forgetting is divine, then tell me, why does it always require a sacrifice? My friends, fellow yellers, here is a story I call The Family That Moved On. There was a husband and wife, married for over 50 years, 13 children, a military man for a father, deployment after deployment, long absences, long silences. He carried discipline like armor. He also carried suspicion. 3 of the children, Marcus, Randy, and Pamela were not his, he believed. He never had proof. He never sought proof. He simply decided those 3 children were most likely not his, and once he decided, his behavior followed. He was monstrous. This wasn't headline news abuse. He was just sharper with them, harsher, less patient. Their punishments came quicker. Their forgivenesses came slower. The other 10 children saw it. Marcus saw it most clearly. Randy learned to brace himself, and Pamela learned to stay small. Their mother knew. She tried. She softened words, redirected arguments. Sometimes she would say quietly, "Enough. They have had enough." But she never confronted the suspicion directly. And children can feel when protection is partial. Years passed. The children grew up. Some left, got married, had children of their own. The father aged. The mother aged. They both died within a few years of each other. And then the family gatherings changed. It was Thanksgiving when it happened the first time. The table was full. Anthony, the oldest, the cherished son, sat at the head. He had always been close to their mother. The father admired him, trusted him. Anthony now carried himself like inheritance. Randy, one of the 3 who felt the brunt of their father's actions, said quietly, "Dad was different with us." The room tightened. Anthony didn't raise his voice. He never had to. He simply stated, "That was years ago. Dad was strict with everyone." Marcus looked down, sharing Randy's sentiment. "Pamela spoke up, not with you," she said softly. And as she knew the difference that Randy spoke of, Andy smiled, not kindly at her. "Pam, you're remembering that wrong. Mom and Dad did their best." Silence followed. Forks against plates. That's all could be heard. Then later, grandchildren laughing in the next room. Marcus didn't come the next Christmas. When asked why, one of the siblings shrugged. He's still holding on to that stuff. Anthony nodded. "We're not going to rewrite our parents." The other 10 children fell into the patterns. Some were sympathetic in private. "You know, he was harder on you." But in public, they stabilized. Because aligning with Anthony meant staying safe in the group. Some of them, if we're honest, used it. As children, they had learned that being close to the father meant easier discipline. As adults, they learned that protecting the father's memory meant easier inheritance, better positioning, more influence. Old childhood dynamics matured into adult strategy. Pamela once tried again at the next family gathering. It was Easter. She spoke up. He treated us differently. You all know that. Anthony leaned back in his chair. Pam, we're not doing this. We're not tearing down Mom and Dad. But it happened, she said. He paused. I was closest to Mom. I know things you do not. Let it go. And that was that. The grandchildren began noticing the differences also. Which cousins were praised more? Which stories were told more often? Which children's mistakes were laughed off? Which ones were corrected sharply? The patterns didn't disappear. It adapted. Randy, Marcus, and Pamela's children were being treated by their aunts and uncles in the same manner. So, of course, the grandchildren learned and mimicked. Because what is not named repeats. Marcus stopped coming regularly. Randy came but stayed quiet. Pamela came less and less. Anthony remained at the head of the table, protector of the legacy, guardian of the memory, and the room stayed calm. Here is the realization: forgetting in that family was not accidental. It was functional. It kept the story clean. It preserved the father's honor. It protected the mother's implication. It kept Anthony's authority intact. It allowed the other 10 to avoid choosing sides. Forgetting benefited the majority. Remembering isolated the 3. When someone says, "That was a long time ago," what they often mean is that truth destabilized what we have now. Here is a poetic interruption called "At the Table." Pass the food, pass the wine, leave the past behind. Tell the stories safe to tell, ring the praise like dinner bells. If one remembers something sharp, soften it, call it a spark. If one recalls the uneven hand, say you don't understand. Harmony sits where truth once stood. Silence tastes like something good. But ask the ones who feel the split, who leaves full and who leaves with it. My friends, forgiveness without accountability is organized forgetting. Friends, let's widen the lens a bit. A nation would say that policy was decades ago. It's old news. A company says that was an isolated event. An institution says we've grown since then. The Anthony types exist everywhere. The stabilizer, the protector of legacy, the one who hints at knowing more but refuses to say it, the one who says we're not rewriting history, even when history was never written fully to begin with. And the Marcuses, Randys, and Pamelas, they are told, you're remembering it wrong. You're too sensitive. Why can't you move on? Forgetting keeps rooms calm. Forgetting protects power. Forgetting preserves hierarchy. Forgetting allows the cycle to continue without naming it. Here is a dinner conversation I had in a poetic style just for you, my fellow yellers. Tell me in the comment section if you had one of these chats before. I call this poem, We Needed to Forget. Hey Gwen, do you remember when? Nope. Yes, you do. It was that boy. He was in the news? Nope. Come on, really? It was everywhere for months. I can't remember. You have to remember. They marched, they shouted, they painted his name on the walls. I'd rather not remember. Girl, we needed to forget. Unless his name had too many syllables, unless it fit in a chant, unless it rhymed with a demand, unless someone passed the law saying I have to remember, unless it came with a holiday, a monument, a documentary, a donation link. Otherwise, yeah, I know, we moved on to September. Okay. Do you remember when? Nope. It was the girl this time in that village on the border, the huge fire? No, it was trending for weeks. Nope, don't recall. We needed to forget, so I forgot. The news kept saying, this must never happen again. I think until it did. And when it did, and we asked, do you remember when? My answer is still no. We needed to forget. So we did. Okay, Miss Gwen, I hear ya. Let's go have a meal. Okay. How was Johnny's birthday? It was great. Did he lose a tooth? Yup. How's Sarah doing? She's ready for college? Nope, she's busy with being cute. Did you see the game? Mm-hmm. Did you book your trip? Sure did. I really need this vacation. Did you hear they're remodeling the bridge? It sure needs it. Sweetie, pass the bread. Pour me some wine. We'll circle back another time. And that is how forgetting works. Not with denial, with dinner, unrehearsed. So, my dear friends, if amnesia keeps the family or countries intact, who is paying for the peace? If silence protects legacy, who absorbs the fracture? Next episode, we move one step further. What happens when forgetting is no longer passive? When it becomes policy? This has been Who Yelling Now? See you in the next episode.